I wasn't supposed to be there that night. I picked up someone else's shift. They told me the building would be empty. Just lock up, do a quick walkthrough, and leave. But when I got there, one of the office's lights was already on, and there was a badge sitting on the desk, logged in, active. The name on it belonged to someone who quit 2 weeks earlier. I should have left right then, but I didn't. And that's when I realized I wasn't the only one working that night. Working the night shift changes how you see things. The same place you walk through every day starts to feel different when you're the only one there. Every sound stands out, every shadow feels off, and sometimes the things you experience during those hours don't have a normal explanation. These are true night shift horror stories from workers who thought they were alone until something proved them wrong. Story 1. The Locked Floor. I worked overnight cleaning offices in a high-rise building. It was the kind of job where nothing ever really happened. Same routine every night, same floors, same empty hallways. There was one rule everyone knew: do not go to the 12th floor. It was under renovation, no power, no reason to be there, and it was locked. At least, it was supposed to be. One night, around 1 a.m., I got on the elevator to head down. I didn't press anything yet, and it stopped. The number 12 lit up, the doors opened, the hallway lights were on, bright, like a normal active floor. That didn't make sense. I just stood there for a second, staring into it. Something about it felt wrong, not dangerous, just wrong, like I wasn't supposed to be seeing it like that. Then the doors closed on their own. I told myself it was a glitch. Old building, old elevator, but a few minutes later, it happened again. Same floor, doors open, lights on. This time, I heard something. Footsteps, slow, dragging slightly, coming from deeper in the hallway, not toward me, just moving, like someone walking without a destination. I hit the close button. Nothing. The doors stayed open. The footsteps got closer, not fast, not aggressive, just approaching. I started pressing every button I could. Finally, the doors shut and the elevator dropped. I didn't go back up again that night. The next morning, I asked my supervisor about it. He just stared at me for a second, then said, "The power's been cut to that floor for weeks." I didn't even finish my shift. I left my supplies right there in the hallway and never looked back. But what bothered me most wasn't the lights. It was the footsteps, because they didn't sound like someone walking normally. They sounded like someone learning how. Story 2, the overnight babysitting job. I used to babysit for a family that needed overnight help. 2 kids, both young, both usually asleep by 9. It was an easy job. One night before the parents left, they told me something strange. If you hear anything on the monitor after midnight, just ignore it. I laughed, thought they were joking. They weren't. Everything was normal at first. I watched TV, checked on the kids, nothing out of place. Around 2 a.m., the baby monitor lit up, static, then movement. I turned the volume up. At first, it sounded like one of the kids moving in their sleep, but then it changed. It turned into whispering, low, quiet. Too quiet to understand, but definitely not a child. I went upstairs, checked both rooms. Both kids were asleep, completely still. I went back downstairs. The monitor was still picking it up, still whispering, and then it said something clearly, not loud, but close enough to make out. "Come here." I froze, because it didn't sound like it came from the room. It sounded like it came from right next to the monitor, like whatever was speaking wasn't with the kids. I turned it off. Immediately, the whispering stopped. The next morning, I asked the parents about it. They didn't act surprised. They just said, "Yeah, that's why we told you not to listen. It gets louder if it knows you're paying attention." I never went back. Story 3, the office printer. I worked at T for a small company. Sometimes I stayed late to fix issues. One night, I was there alone. Around 11 p.m., the printer started going off. That wasn't unusual, except there was no one else there. I checked the system. No print jobs, nothing in the queue. But it kept printing, page after page. I walked over and grabbed one. blank every page, just empty sheets. But the printer wouldn't stop. And then I noticed something. They weren't completely blank. There were marks, very faint, like pressure without ink, indented into the paper, like something had been written, just not printed. I held one up to the light, and I could see it. Letters, pressed into the page, over and over again. Same phrase. I couldn't read it fully, but I could make out parts. Still here. I unplugged the printer. It shut off instantly. The next morning I checked the logs. The print job came from a computer that hadn't been used in over a year, assigned to an employee who had been fired. For refusing to leave the building after hours, the supervisor said they fired him because he wouldn't leave after hours. But what he didn't tell me was that when security finally found him, he'd been living in the vents for 3 weeks. Story 4, The Elevator Voice. I worked night shift at a hospital, transporting patients between floors. One night, I got into an empty elevator, pressed the button for the basement. As the doors closed, I heard a voice right behind me. "Don't go down there." I turned around immediately. No one there. I checked the corners. Nothing. The elevator started moving, and then it stopped. Between floors, the lights flickered. I looked at my own reflection in the brushed metal doors. For a split second, my eyes didn't look like mine. They looked hollow. That's when the voice whispered right into my neck. "Don't let it see you." I stood there completely still, didn't press anything, didn't move. After a few seconds, the elevator started again. When the doors opened, I stepped out immediately. I asked the night security guard why the elevator always stops on its own. He didn't even look up from his monitor. He just said, "It doesn't stop on its own. It stops when the weight sensor thinks there are 2 people inside, even when there's only 1. Story 5, The Parking Garage. I worked overnight security in a parking garage. Around 3 a.m. I was doing my rounds. Top level, completely empty. As I walked past one of the pillars, I heard footsteps behind me. I turned. Nothing. Kept walking. Heard it again. Closer. Matching me. I stopped. It stopped. Then I heard something right next to me. A voice. Low. Right at my ear. "You're not supposed to see me?" I didn't turn around. I just walked. Faster. And the entire time, I could feel something walking beside me. Just out of view, keeping pace. I made it to the security booth and locked the door. I pulled up the level 4 footage, expecting to see a prankster, but the monitor showed me walking alone, except my shadow. In the footage, my shadow was lagging 5 feet behind me, standing perfectly still, even when I was running. Final story, The Night Shift Replacement. I picked up a night shift for someone who had quit suddenly. No one really said why, just that he stopped showing up. That night I logged into the system. Everything looked normal until I checked the activity logs. His account was active, logged in, same time as me. I thought it was a glitch. But then files started opening, moving, accessed in real time. Someone was using it. I checked the cameras. No one. Empty building, but the activity kept going. Then a message popped up from his account. "You shouldn't be here." I didn't respond. Another message. "I didn't leave." Then the screen changed. The camera feed opened on its own and showed a hallway, one I had just walked through, empty at first. Then something moved. At the end of the hall, tall, wrong, standing there looking directly at the camera, and then it moved, fast, toward where I had been. I ran. Didn't shut anything down, didn't look back, I just left. The next day, they told me something. The guy whose shift I picked up was found dead in the building, in a part of the building no one uses. He'd been there for days. But the creepiest part, when HR pulled the digital logs to see when he'd passed, they found a single entry from 5 minutes after I ran out of the building. His account had finally typed, "End of shift. Good night." Most people think the night shift is quiet, uneventful, just another part of the job, but sometimes the things that happen when everyone else is gone don't have an explanation, and sometimes whatever you encounter during those hours doesn't stay where it should. So if something feels off, trust that feeling, because you might not be alone. even if you're supposed to be. The shadows are long and the night is far from over. If you want to survive what lurks in the dark, stay within the circle, subscribe to Tales from the Fiend, and leave a like to keep the lights on. Until next time, watch your back.